When we look at philanthropy and grant making, it's important to also know that these organizations are also working within an unequal environment and landscape. So it's important to uplift and center minoritized voices. And the way that we do that is through understanding, through looking at equity in the grant making process and understanding that some organizations and some projects are underfunded and as an effect of systemic inequalities. And to be able to assure that those inequalities impact as least as possible into the process itself of grant making.
So I think equity is important in grant making because we exist in these really deeply inequitable systems, and the way that resources are usually allocated is usually related to who has access to power, who's able to maneuver relationships in such a way that they can enable fundraising. And the power of having an equity lens when we're doing grant making is that we have the potential to sort of even that playing field.
A lot of it is based on the process, how it was structured, the rubric, the measurements, and trying to eliminate bias as possible. So stepping away from decisions that involve any organizations that I'm personally invested in or attached to, also understanding deeply their projects and what they want to do, and also looking at the ways in which they're framing the projects within an intersectional framework. And also in the process of the discussion of in the grant making space of understanding what the needs are of each grantee and understanding the impact on the community.
As a Black woman, racial equity is one of the lens through which I view everything in this world. So I was specifically looking to see who was applying a racial justice lens to their work and who were centering the voices of people of color and centering the marginalizations that we face every day. I also was keeping my eyes peeled to see who were thinking critically about centering also the voices of survivors or victims, however they choose to identify, whether they were coming at it from a direct experience or whether they were coming at it from an experience of somebody who's trying to help, who is trying to provide services and support. And I particularly looked at it through a lens of, okay, are the solutions that are being proposed being done in collaboration with the people who are directly affected, or is it being done in a sort of saviorist sort of positioning?
I was interested in joining the SRE Network Grant Selection Committee because of its focus on the work of safety, equity, and respect generally, and particularly because of the two main focuses of this grant cycle: the focus on supporting victim survivors and the focus on intersectionality. And I think those are two subgroups in our larger community that are sometimes overseen, but also have different needs that need to be addressed particularly. And it also comes from a framework of trying to understand inequality and power. And those are very important work. That's very important work that SRE is doing, and I wanted to support that work.
I come from the nonprofit world, so I know firsthand about what it takes to actually have to apply for funding and apply for grants. And I know how deeply inequitable that system could be. So when I was approached to be a part of the review committee and to be able to have a say in helping decide and helping have a say in terms of who is able to receive some of the funding that they may need to be able to further the work that they're doing, that was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up. And they're all doing really incredible work. It's been an incredibly difficult process, but I'm honored to be a part of the process.